The representative from Illinois, Ms. Miller, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you to all the witnesses who have come. This is a very interesting conversation. And Mr. Chisholm, we've heard a lot about the potential benefits of AI in schools, but one of the longstanding priorities of this committee has been student privacy. And so there's a lot that people don't understand or we're rightly concerned about when it comes to AI's impact on student privacy. You mentioned this a bit in your testimony, but what student privacy pitfalls do you think districts should be aware of, and how has your district handled this?
That's a great question. And again, student privacy, we have to fall under FERPA laws. So we got to make sure we're in compliance with that. It's real simple. I don't want to make this, oversimplify this, but it really is simple. If you're using a public entity, I don't care if it's OpenAI, Grok, any of these others, you can't put student identifiable information on it or teacher identifiable information. So really teaching people to scrub files, that's the biggest thing if you're going to use an Excel file that has this information, knowing what you need to take out. So that's a way that we handle that if you're using something like OpenAI. However, we alleviate that by using our own server. So I don't have to worry about FERPA laws because it does not face the internet in any way, shape, or form. So again, we've done trainings with teachers and administrators. We can put any file that we want on our own server, and we don't ever have to worry about student privacy there because it's housed on our own campuses. So we don't have to worry about that. So I think that's a way to do that. And again, it's a pretty expensive way to do it. However, on the flip side, if you're using this as a district, such with OpenAI, you're eventually going to start having to pay for tokens. So in the end, we as a district have decided that it's going to be more cost effective to just go ahead and pay for our own server than try to pay for tokens with one of those as well. So hope that answers your question. That is the crux of what we do. It is good training first if you're using a public server, and then on the other side, we just create our own so we alleviate the problem altogether.
Thank you, and I appreciate how you're leading the way there. Mr. Chisholm, I have another question. One of the most frequent concerns we hear about AI in schools is that students will use AI as a crutch. For example, students will ask AI to write their essays or answer their homework questions. I know there's limits to how much a school district can do, especially once a student goes home for the day, but how are you thinking through these challenges?
That's probably my favorite question. And really, we have to rethink what we do in education. I've told our teachers and in all of the presentations that I do that we've got to rethink what we do in the classroom. Basically, we have to control the 8 hours that we have. We can't worry about other things outside of school because understand they're going to use it. So really, we need a heavier focus on what we do in the classroom and control the 8 hours that we have. And that means heavier weighting on grades for the things that we do in classrooms. It means that, again, we have to shift. Instead of sending things home for kids to write, we need to take care of those things within the classroom and worry about the controllables. And again, we can't worry about what happens outside. We just have to shift our focus to things like having projects done in class or having students explain their work. Why do I care where the information came from if the student can actually give that information back and teach someone else? They know the material. That's the ultimate thing that we're trying to do within the district. So control the 8 hours that we have.
Thank you. And Dr. Dobrin, one especially exciting aspect of AI adoption is the potential that this technology can transform education for special needs students. And I have two grandsons with special needs. For instance, AI-powered programs can facilitate speech-to-text software or help visually impaired students participate more fully in class. Can you talk more about how AI is being used to practically enhance special ed?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And the first thing I need to say is that I do not have experience in special education specifically, and Ms. Moat earlier had addressed some of this, and so I defer to her on that. What you're talking about specifically are assistive technologies. For me, in terms of special needs students, and also really for any student, one of the most enriching possibilities that we're seeing with AI right now is in customized learning pathways. The ability for a student to move through information and content and all the things associated with education in a way that is more effective for that learner. Now, I tend to also put a stopgap on where that becomes beneficial once we get past higher ed into credentialing. But I think that customized learning pathways right now are one of the most important things we're developing, particularly in terms of real-time assessment and the ability for students in that moment of assessment to adjust their learning path to see, I did not understand this concept, I now have this other way of learning about it. That to me is one of the most important things we're doing.
Thank you, and I yield back.